You're listening to Big Blend Radio's Cooking with Ruth show, featuring Ruth Milstein, author of the Gourmand award-winning recipe book, Cooking with Love, Ventures into the New Israeli Cuisine. Hey everybody, it is time to go cooking with Ruth. We always talk about fun, delicious, and healthy recipes here on Big Blend Radio with Ruth every third Sunday. And today, Nancy and I are excited because she's going to teach us how to play and have fun with roasting fennel bulbs. Did I say that correctly, Nancy? Bulbs.
Yeah.
We're going to have a bulbaceous time with Ruth. And everyone, as you know, she is the author of the Gourmand award-winning recipe book, Cooking with Love, Ventures into the New Israeli Cuisine. And you can go to ruthmilstein.com or get it right on Amazon. It's out in its second edition with even more beautiful photos and definitely something, you know, as we are in the beginning of the year, we're all trying to eat healthier, but that cookbook will help you. It's all about very Mediterranean cooking and eating healthy, but being healthy does not mean you don't be delicious. So we're going to talk about fennel today. So welcome back, Ruth. How are you?
I'm very good. How are you?
Doing good. Nancy and I are excited to talk about fennel because I think most of us know fennel as a spice or like a little fennel seed that we'll use in cooking, but we don't often play with the bulbs. I'm having so much fun talking about bulbs. But anyway.
Okay.
You have in the bulb, you have more, the bulb is more strong.
Oh, the flavor.
Bulb, yeah.
Strong.
Mm-hmm.
Strong in the smell, strong with the, yeah, it's stronger.
You know what? I've had the fennel bulb the first time we were out in California, in Yosemite area at a restaurant, and I think we were in Tuolumne or Jamestown, I think, Nancy. And because there's a big Portuguese community out in Central and High Sierra area of California, this restaurant, he was making langosta, which is like a Portuguese sausage with fennel and anise. And then in the pasta, they did like it's sausage with this bow tie pasta with sliced up fennel bulbs. And it was a completely different flavor than you would ever expect, especially in a pasta dish. But it was really delicious, very refreshing. You know what? When you're eating it, it's refreshing. Even though it's kind of a heavy dish, it was refreshing. So I'm for this fennel, but I've never roasted him. Nancy, have you ever cooked fennel?
I tried once. I'd used it before as little tiny diced cubes in salad as a fresh ingredient. But then I tried roasting it. And I got this recipe that you slice the fennel thinly, then you slather it, was the word they use, in mustard and put olives on top. So I'm like, that sounds good to me. But I have to say, I think that the fennel and the mustard were fighting because it was a little more than what my palate wanted, but I'd do it with just the olives or something.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Ruth, I think they were trying to go for that little bit of a tang, which your recipe and everyone, the link is in the episode notes. You're using lemon with this, right? So that you want that lemon to balance out the licorice flavor, right?
Yes. Lemon does a lot. It does a lot. Even one drop, it does a lot. And people doesn't know, really.
Yeah.
It doesn't know about it. No. It doesn't know.
Have you
tell them what it means. What it means. What is it? Where you find it? Where you buy it?
Yeah.
They don't want to, most of them don't want to try new things.
The new things. Okay, so Ruth, so there's 4 bulbs, right? In this fennel bulbs, and then you cut the stalks off. Do you just throw the stalks away, or do you cook those too?
I will take it off and look at them. If it's good, you can use it for something else.
Put them in a
Mm.
salad. Can you eat them in a
Yes.
salad? You know?
You can eat in salad. You can put it in something else that you
Like a
cook it with.
stew.
Yes, stew or something. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so you got 4 bulbs. You got a teaspoon of fresh lemon,
Yeah.
olive oil. Ruth
Lemon does
always
a
wants
lot.
olive oil. I made breakfast with
Yes.
olive oil today, just
Yeah.
for you. 2 tablespoons of Parmesan cheese shredded. So you want fresh Parmesan, not the,
Yes. All the
okay.
fresh.
Tablespoon of mozzarella cheese, also shredded. Black pepper
Mm.
Yes.
and breadcrumbs. This is simple, right? This
Mm.
is good.
Yeah.
So
And
you,
everything available.
yeah, very easy. Most people have this, maybe not the lemon, but some people, even if you don't have the fresh lemon, you can
Not
still.
the lemon. You should have lemon in at home all the time.
That's it, everybody.
Lemon.
It's
Get a
true.
lemon tree. Get a lemon. Well,
Lemon
lemon
and
and lime.
lime. Lemon
Yeah.
and lime.
And garlic and olive oil and
Mm-hmm.
chili. You have to have chili.
Chili's
Yeah,
good too.
chili. So you wash the fennel and then you cut them in half lengthways and then you cut it into 1-inch pieces. So you're really kind of mixing all the olive oil, the lemon, the fennel, and then you put it, then you're mixing also the cheeses with it. Mix
Yes.
everything together and then you bake it. That's not hard, Ruth.
Yes. Yes. It's not hard at all, and it's very tasty. And children
Oh,
also will like it.
oh yeah.
One day, please, children will like it.
Mm. When you cook this is interesting because you cook it you preheat the oven to 400 degrees. So like you're making pizza, but you
Yes.
say you're putting in a baking pan and you cover it with aluminum foil. So it's almost like in a tent. So
Yes.
that's
Because I
interesting.
wanted to get color in the top also.
Oh,
And after I open it, when I open it, I leave it in the oven a little bit to get
okay.
some color.
Mm.
Okay. So you remove the foil, then you put the breadcrumbs don't go in until the end, and then you
Yes.
bake it for 5 minutes after that.
Yes.
You want the crispy topping.
Yeah.
Can we add more cheese when we do that? Just saying.
You like?
Yes. Nancy, you want more cheese?
I always want more cheese.
Say cheese. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, I love cheese.
Yeah, fennel
It's the
though. This is,
best. It's the best ingredient ever as far as letting other ingredients shine. It like helps them along. Like, here you go.
well, I think, Ruth, the cheeses that you choose for this, the Parmesan has that tartness that goes with lemon that really kind of balances the fennel. And the mozzarella gives you that cheesy feeling, that melted cheesy, yummy.
It's rich. It's rich.
Yeah. When you mix them together, it's a different taste, really.
I want
Special
to try
taste.
that. I want to try that. It sounds good. What would you do for a meat on the side, a protein on the side? What would you eat with it?
As a protein,
Mm-hmm.
so many protein, except bread, everything.
Yeah, because I would think like even lamb would go. Maybe, I don't know, maybe lamb is too,
Lamb is a little bit heavy.
yeah, a little
Something
heavy.
a little bit heavy.
You do
You can take
chicken?
Pork.
chicken, yeah, chicken leg. Chicken leg, it's easier.
Pork would be good.
But chicken breast is a little bit.
Turkey. Ruth is not having pork, Nancy. She's the new Israeli
Boring.
cook.
That's right.
I call it boring.
Sorry.
Boring. Chicken breast is boring.
Sorry.
It needs help. Need the help. It's dry.
Yeah, it is true. Every
Leg
time I
is
eat
easier.
pork, I get weird. It's,
Yeah.
no, ask Nancy. No. I mean,
She runs around the house snorting like a pig.
yeah, I do. No.
Yeah.
But, meat, like if we look at,
Chicken leg is easier.
maybe you
Easier.
could do this
And
with a
children like
steak.
it also.
A steak?
Steak is great.
Mm.
Steak is great.
A nice filet mignon. Ooh, you know what? With a little bit of the blue cheese on the filet, and then you have this as your side dish.
Boy.
That is, wow.
Perfect.
That is good. And a good glass of wine. I'm thinking a red wine for this, maybe. What do you
It's
think?
red wine. It's red
hmm
wine.
It can stand up
Yeah.
to it. Or a
Yeah.
really buttery Chardonnay. Has to be a
Yeah.
buttery Chardonnay. Has to be. Otherwise, the Fennel police will come out. But Nancy, you looked up Fennels today. You got all interested in Fennel, and you said that there's some mythology going on around it.
Well, it has a spiritual background and has been used in ceremonies across the world in different places, but it has it comes from the licorice kind of taste. It comes from a compound that is the same as you find in anise, star anise,
exactly.
anise, yeah. And
Mediterranean.
yeah, so they call it an athol. Sorry. I had to say it. But I'm like, and I did not say ASS, I said ANE, an athol. But so,
well, it says it's very mild anise, so I wonder if enthol and anise are related.
I don't know, but it's ANETHOLE, and there's no other way to say it.
Ruth, this is what happens when my mother comes on the show. What?
It's fun.
It was all interesting.
It make us laugh and smile.
Yes, we must laugh at the end. Well, the other thing I didn't know is that fennel is related. It's a part of the carrot family. It's a carrot.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what if you roasted these with carrots? And I'm thinking it could be good in like a pasta dish, like.
Yes, I agree.
Have you ever used it like with, like a Parmigiana or something like that? Would you do it?
Why not?
Ooh. A schnitzel, Ruth, because the schnitzel has to have the lemon.
Schnitzel has, yeah.
So this would be a nice side dish with like a chicken Parmesan and fennel, or chicken
schnitzel and an athol.
Enthol. Nancy, she's going to be saying this all day long, Ruth. You know what it's going to be like now. But this is, what I love about it is we're looking at this vegetable that we can use the top and the bottom. Like celery, I'm making a soup like tomorrow. It's celery. It's all celery, onion, garlic, carrots. I know that's a base, but like this is the main part of it. And then mushrooms that have been sauteed, portobellos, they've been sauteed a little bit first, and then they go in. There's something you've got to have. I don't know, Ruth, but I'm starting to use butter a lot. Is that bad? I don't know if it's helping my waist.
When you said a lot, it's 1 tablespoon a day?
No.
Less.
No. No, I started cooking with butter. And there's just this whole other, Ruth. But I got back to the olive oil, and the olive oil's good. But I don't know, something happened. And recently I've been just like, it's so nice to cook things in butter.
It's because it's cold outside. Do you want the layer?
Yeah, I want. Well, in soup,
yes, by yourself.
Soup. If you put a tablespoon, like you're saying, you're right. The tablespoon is like the perfect amount.
Yeah, a tablespoon is fine.
It adds that little creaminess.
You will see. By yourself, you're going to stop. Yeah.
Oh, I will. I'll behave, Ruth. It's cold and it snowed. I want butter, and I don't know. It's kind of good. And then, but anyway, I want a butter cake.
Every day. They said butter, it's good to eat every day, 1 tablespoon. We don't do that. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I've
Okay.
ever done like regularly a full
No,
tablespoon of butter in my life a
not
day,
real butter.
ever. I just started
You will
cooking with it because it's like, oh man, it adds this whole other flavor.
Well, it's
And
got
then, well,
cream.
we are in the South and everybody uses butter out here, but it's like, it is good. And I
what
will behave, but like,
what you
oh,
cook with it? What you cook with the butter?
mushrooms, garlic and onion.
Mm.
Uh-huh.
And, and then because it, the garlic, it's like, I really love roasted garlic. I adore, and,
It's
and then,
healthy.
yeah. And because you get that pungent onion, right? And there's the sweet part. And then when you spice it up with some
Yes.
hot sauce or like some sriracha, right?
Yes.
Yes. Like, why can't we make cocktails out of this? I mean, I need like a garlic martini. I don't know how to explain that.
Huh.
But
Garlic
then
martini.
but no, and I love olive oil. I've always used olive oil for the sauteing, but the butter, suddenly I went, oh, this is fun,
Because it adds that extra
creamy.
creamy texture.
But if I'm allowed 1 tablespoon a day, I've done it.
You do. You do. You do.
I think,
You do.
because Nancy and I
Because
don't eat a lot of meat.
Lisa, you're on the move all the time.
It's good to get oil in your
You're
body,
yeah.
You need to have some fats. And if I'm not eating avocado,
I don't think so.
and we don't eat
Avocado
we don't
very
eat that much
healthy.
meat. We don't eat meat really that much. We do, but not like a lot. So if, I think our biggest protein is cheese, which is not healthy, but it's fun. But Ruth, it's interesting though, because, we added like, I made a chili the other day, I added a little meat. Like we need to eat more, a little bit here and there and trying to get it light. Like I think when you look at vegetables in the Mediterranean diet and in Israel, did you like eat vegetables first? Because I've been researching this, that they're saying we have gotten away in modern society from when, I don't know, when I was a kid, you'd go to a restaurant, they would give you the salad first. You eat the vegetables first,
Yes.
and they bring the
Yes.
meal. And now
Yes.
it's kind of like everything all at the same time. And I don't even know if your body knows how to eat all those ingredients and digest them all at once. You're eating the salad, the
We eat too
meat,
fast.
it's
We eat too
everything.
fast now.
Yeah.
The restaurant wants you in and out.
You know
But
why? You know why? Because you digest it first.
Yeah.
But vegetable, it digests very fast.
Mm.
And if you eat meat before, they're going to fight.
Mm.
well,
It's going
yeah.
to fight the stomach.
Yeah, your stomach wants bit by bit. It doesn't want 20 ingredients.
Well,
It doesn't know how to digest it.
We used to have like the 7-course meal, and each course was not that huge. It was, here comes the salad, then here came the veggie, then here came the meat, and then the American way went just all slap it all together.
Okay, wait.
Start
Say
with
that
the
again.
soup. Supposed to start with the soup, vegetable, and after they start with the course, within the other things.
Yeah. But now we just, as Americans, we put everything on the same plate.
And then the dessert,
nice.
like at the end, the dessert, I remember you'd have a small dessert and then you would still have like a fruit and cheese plate, and the crackers in England, I remember that, were like digestive biscuits because I mean, we're talking about fiber again, everybody on Big Blend Radio. It keeps coming back to
great.
it. But, well, no, because the fruit and the cheese balanced and helps the digestive enzymes in your body. And so it's kind of, I was watching something and listening to something and started reading this. I'm going, Ruth, we need to go back to how we were back in the day. Like, I mean, 100 years ago.
If you skip a whole food group out of your diet, it stands to reason you're going to miss something that your body actually needs.
Yeah.
So, but I like the way that how we used to eat. Didn't that slow us down? I mean, I love this conversation because, Sunday supper month is January. where it gets people to get back together with their families and have supper, a Sunday supper, where people communicate, slow down. And, it's part of the Mediterranean diet is part of that. And the blue zone communities that are so healthy, part of it is that they're eating slower. They're talking, they're laughing. Yes, there's wine, but you're not guzzling it, it's calm. And so Ruth, when you look at, the first time we talked with you with the cookbook, Cooking with Love, Ventures in the New Israeli Cuisine, I think you really go back to some of those practices of slow down, and you don't have to eat everything all at once on the table. Those little things, not this huge steak, right? We could have steak, but maybe half of what we have is a serving today.
Yeah, so you can eat something else.
Yeah. Because,
when you think of the term breaking bread, which is very biblical, you would sit down with your acquaintances and your friends and your relatives and break bread, which meant they would start with, in our terminology, hors d'oeuvres, something like a cracker or a piece of bread with something on it.
Yeah.
But the whole thing was to slow the process down. You're not an animal. You don't have to eat your meal in 10 seconds. So you slow down. You enjoy the company, which is what a meal is. So that first you would start with the hors d'oeuvres, and then you go to something next and something next. And in between, you're talking to people, you're relaxed, which helps your digestive system a ton. This eating on the run thing, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing.
Yeah.
No.
No, it's about slowing down.
I remember when we ate dinner, we didn't even touch the plate till my father started. Once my father started, we start to eat. My father didn't start. First of all, he prayed, small praying, We were.
Yes.
He prayed, very small, fast, yes, and he start with the bread, with the praying, yes, and he start eating and start talking and everything. It was very nice. Especially in the weekend. But then weekday, it's different. Weekday, he's home, he's not home, this home, that home, this. It was nice, but now, where are the kids? Where are them? Everybody in someplace else.
It's so rushed now.
Well,
everything is so rushed.
That's what's great about the Sunday Supper Month. It kind of reminds us that you don't have to, we are rushed. Our society is that, and trying to stop that being what it is like almost impossible. But if we let our bodies just once a week, that's not it's, and you get to think about the food you're going to prepare. Maybe different people in the family, the kids can be involved. The kids, I remember,
it's
making
special.
salads was one of the first things, because then I learned about the vegetables, and Nancy was wanting to make me eat my salad, eat your veggies. And we grew them. And then it was picking the lettuce and then washing it. And we all know washing lettuce is a pain. That's why everything's prepackaged for us, which so it goes bad quicker. All the prepackaged stuff goes bad quicker, like on it, or they put preservatives and stuff on it. So anyway, if you can get a whole head of lettuce instead, it's better. But, she would make me, take care of the lettuce and prepare it and cut it by hand. So you'd tear it, which is actually better for the lettuce. And we'd put it in that spinner. So you'd spin the water out. Now for a kid, playing with the spinner is fun. For an adult, we're over it. But for kids, I want to play with the spinner. Did you play with the spinner, Ruth?
Absolutely.
We want to play with the lettuce.
That's fun.
Yeah. And I think the fennel is so funky looking for kids. that when you say the kids will want to eat it because also that licorice flavor, the anise, anthol, as Nancy says, it you it's something. Ooh, I want that. I think especially if you grew your own food, it's going to get kids more involved to eat those things, and the adults too, like Nancy. So I think I've got a chance of getting Nancy to eat fennel, Ruth, thanks to
Well, no,
you.
fennel's great. I used to
Hmm.
put it in soups all the time.
Huh.
Soups and sauces. And I don't remember ever eating it as a full-fledged veggie. Um, but I used to buy fennel and take the top off because it looks like parsley. It's probably in the parsley family. And use it in salads and soups and sprinkle it on stuff, and it gave that little tang without having to go get a bottled spice. You know,
Mm.
it was natural and flavorful, little peppery, but it was good, man. It brought out the flavors
I
of the dish you sprinkled it on.
I think, Ruth, can't we cook it? Like, could we take fennel, the bulb, thinly
Yes.
slice it, because it comes out in those little rings, because it's a bulb. Then it's like celery that way, but slice it really thin with celery. Do you think it would go well together? Celery and fennel?
Why not? Why not? Yeah. But
You
don't
don't know till
overcook
you
it.
try.
Don't
Don't
overcook
overcook it.
it.
Okay.
Because you cut it, so don't overcook it. It's going to be mushy.
Oh, we don't want the mushies. No mushy.
So don't overcook it.
Okay.
Oh, but you could chop up the celery really, really finely and put it on a paper towel and let it drain a bit and then put it.
Yes.
Yeah, that would work. So all that extra moisture from the celery goes away. Then you're
Okay.
just left with the flavor and the texture.
What about the top part? So there's like the little stalks that you said that we could still use if it's clean and everything. But what about the little frond things at the top? Can't we put that in soup or use that too?
That's salad and
Yes.
soup.
It's not hard. Some of them like hard, like it is not so hard. If it's
Okay.
not so hard, you can use it. Yes. The hard one
Okay.
is
If it's hard, I think it's been in the store too long.
Mm-hmm.
old, too old.
Yeah.
You can even chew
Okay.
it. Just let it go.
Okay. No, we want it easy. We want it easy. But now I used to make soups with rutabagas, like for this time of year, turnips, all the roots. I'd just put them in the crock pot and go for it and see what would happen. But I think it's good for us to have those. That's what those vegetables are winter nutrients, that's what we store over fall and everything, after the
Well,
harvest. So we have this.
cows like you if you eat turnips. They're like, oh, you're one of us. They can sniff it out and they're like, hey, I like you too.
Hey, turnips. Oh, I remember feeding the horses turnips. Small
Yeah.
amount.
Yeah, well, they bucked.
Yeah, yeah. And yes, you don't want to feed them too much turnip.
No, you don't.
But horses, yeah, you can get a little bit,
Did
but
they
not too
buck?
much. Don't do
Did they
too
get
much
too
turnip.
much turnip? They buck.
Yeah, and it gives them they get a little gassy. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
They're a little
which is
gassy.
why they
They're
buck.
angry all the time. The horses. Whenever I look to horses, angry.
They're not
They never
angry.
smile.
They're smart. They're smart horses. Horses are.
They're smart, but they don't
Oh, they're
smile.
very intelligent. They're right up there with dogs.
Oh, they have some smiling, but it depends on the situation they're in. And they want to be free. They're very independent, even
Oh,
though they
yeah.
love they want their buddies and their family around them, but they're very
They're explorers.
oh,
They want to
I
go
love
off.
horses.
They
They're
go
smart,
off
yeah.
into the forest, into the desert, wherever they are. If they can get out, they will.
And the
They
And
come
ocean.
they're
back
gonna
home.
go. They're gonna go
If they get lost, they come back
explore.
home. You know that?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get excited. So did you ride horses when you were a kid, Ruth?
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
And after that, no.
Yeah. I love horses. I absolutely love them. And
yeah.
see, so but you can't eat the same food as your horse, and your horse shouldn't eat the same food as you, because this is a cooking show. We always go off on an off topic, but honestly, it's interesting to see what we can do in this kind of weather. I love that we're looking at vegetables that just get ignored. I think the fennel has been totally underrated of what it does and what we can eat and enjoy. So I think, let's experiment. It's not expensive. I don't think fennel's expensive,
Not
Ruth.
expensive at all, and it's supposed to be fresh. It's very important. Fresh. Everything to buy fresh. If you don't find fresh, buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Buy it.
Don't buy it, yeah.
Wait another 2 days. Get it. You'll get it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. I agree that I'm going to try this, Ruth. I'm going to try this. Now, can we slice up the fennel and put it in latkes?
In latkes. Latkes, it's a sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Bacon on top.
Yeah.
No, just put Nancy, bacon on top.
Nancy,
you
good. Don't do that. Listen, latkes are Jewish foods, and Jewish people do not eat bacon that I know of.
I know. I would say just put bacon on top. It'll be fine.
Ruth, you got to sort her out. You got to sort her out. There's turkey bacon. How about that? Now, have you had that, Ruth?
There's a lot of Jews eat bacon. A lot.
Yeah? Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but now, turkey bacon?
They can eat whatever they want.
No? See?
Oh, it shows. If you choose to eat, they eat. God gave us, you can eat or not to eat. The rest is up to you. It's up to you.
And Ruth is not our doctor, but she's got good advice.
Yeah, this is God gave us do and don't do. The rest is up to you. Up to you. And another thing, how you was raised. How you was raised. If you had it at home, My home was kosher, more or less. My home was kosher, my parents.
Mm-hmm.
So I kept kosher. If I'm kosher 100%, at home I'm kosher, yes. If I'm outside kosher, I don't eat non-kosher. It means I don't eat pork and all this stuff. But if the bread that I eat outside or cake, if I eat outside, I just give you an example, yes? If it's kosher, not always, but it's not non-kosher. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because otherwise you'll never eat. No,
non-kosher. I don't eat it. No, I won't touch it.
When I was vegan, and it's so strict, and I was doing it very strictly on non-hydrogenated oils, and that's kind of actually a good thing to do anyway. And just really whole foods, very, very strict on, and it really, I was super healthy until I did all the processed food that, let's have this fake burger. So that's where it did not work. But if, like what Ruth does, her recipes are whole foods. So it wasn't necessarily the vegan thing that was good. It was how I was eating whole foods, very healthy, nothing processed, because when we first got to this country, everything was making me sick because there were so many preservatives, and my body was just like, what? And so I learned from that, but I would go out, and it was more stress to try and eat that way as a vegan than it was to just kind of bless your food. And I learned eventually just go, hey, I would take what was the closest to what I was trying to do and go, okay, well, you're not doing this every day, so enjoy it, bless it, and move on. And it was better than trying to force a restaurant or someone, or, you know what I mean? Try to make everybody do what you need. There's an allergy, which is a little different, like a dietary choice, that's different than even kosher. Kosher is, spiritual, that's morals and values. But the vegan thing was a choice, So I just kind of had to learn to not be so so strict on it because Ruth, the stress of being so strict was annoying to me and to everybody else. You know what I mean? It wasn't worth it.
Look at allergies. They were the forerunner of warning us who were eating the wrong things.
For our specific body.
Yeah. And so, yeah. And then my granny taught me there were 7 worlds of food. And you should stick to the 7 and keep them as natural as possible. And when and if you needed something to aid you in order to eat it, introduction to spices, which covered up whatever the strongest taste was that you didn't like in the food. Put a spice on it, and then you could eat it.
And which are they? Which the 7? Give me 2. You said 7 spices? Of them.
Yeah. Nancy, what did you mean for the 7?
Oh, 7 groups of food.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
So any there's 7? Fruit, there's fruits. They can be broken down into 2. There's veggies can be broken down to, I think she said 3. Okay. And then there's meats who can be broken down and broken down and broken down. There's 7 groups. Yeah. Okay.
So much food,
and half of it's not even real food.
Yeah. Right. They put so
and then they mix species that I was reading this the other day about mixing species of plants is possible, even if in the beginning those plants would never know each other or be able to be integrated like they are now. Because science has stepped in so they can make something that never existed in nature before. And then after you produce something that never existed in nature before, you sit back and watch the outcome of that, because there's no pre-testing to see if it's good for you or not. So here's a new food group you've never heard of. It's like when you travel, you go to a different country, and a lot of people really have dietary issues by going to a different country.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. So,
well, no, there's people, I was talking to a friend the other day on a podcast. She says, I can't eat bread in this country no matter what. She said, I go to France, I go to, Europe and these places. And she says, I can eat any baked good in the world, but not in our own country. And, so all these people have gluten issues, and it's about how we're harvesting and what we're harvesting. And it's
what we're putting in it.
What we're putting in the soils. It's not necessarily, so all of these things come into play. So, if you can grow your own fennel bulbs, if you can grow your own anthol, do it. That's what I say. So, I think there's something to that. I mean, Ruth, Israel, the food there is pure too, in that you guys grew it yourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That
Wait,
freshness.
When I grow up, we have everything in the backyard. Front yard and backyard. We have backyard trees, vegetable in the front yard. We have also trees, and we have flowers.
Oh yeah, you need the flowers.
My mom took care to the flowers.
The flowers are crucial. They make the the pollination happen.
Yes. What a flower we have.
We all need flowers.
I was reading the other day that there's a group of farmers that want to stop aircraft from flying over their crops because the gases that the airplane or aircrafts are letting off actually hurt their crops. So when you start thinking of how far we've come to make things convenient, which would be the word of America. It's got to be convenient or we don't like it.
The Western world. The Western world.
The convenience thing. So a plane has the freedom to fly over a farmer's crops. And unless they join together a group and can prove it, and it takes 40 years to go through that process, it's very hard for them. They start losing money and having to figure out why. And they have to pay for the tests and see what's happening. Why are the crops? And it's interesting because it's not just the chemicals from the plane, it's the vibrations from the planes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because plants feel that.
Yeah. So, but then how did they feel about highways coming in and traffic on highway,
Mm-hmm. I think Nancy's going to
anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We got to grow our own as much as possible, I think, or support the farmers local as much as possible. It is, society is the way it is. But I mean, we want things to be clean and delivered, and we have great, like when we go shop, I try to get as much from Melissa's produce. They do a lot of organics and they work with farmers across the country and different places if you want things like dragon fruit and pomegranates and things like that. So you want people that are being ethical to farmers. That to me is important too. Farmers growing things like a dragon fruit, you can get them Vista, California. I know there's a fruit farm out there that does some of that, but it's about supporting the farmers and helping them have their pristine place. But that's not what society does. Society's encroaching on everything. So it's interesting, but if you can do it yourself, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool if we can do a little bit ourselves, and we'll eat it. We're more likely to eat it, and our kids to eat those, fruits and vegetables. I mean, Ruth, isn't it nice to be able to just go outside in the backyard and pick an orange off the tree and eat it, or an apple or a plum?
I used to do when I was kids.
Me too.
Yeah.
We had mangoes.
And they were always sweeter.
And avocados. Oh my gosh, I dreamt about avocados last night too. I dreamt about pickles and avocados, giant avocados that we used to have. Giant. With full of flavor. It wasn't like sometimes when you have the bigger, it's not good, but everywhere.
No, they were so good.
Yeah.
Growing up give fruit after 10 years, you know that?
They give what?
They start giving fruit after 10 years.
Yeah, it takes a long time.
I don't know today. But back many, many years ago, they start giving fruit after 10 years.
10 years. It takes so long for an avocado. I mean, if you think about how we all
today the same.
Try to grow that seed, and everybody puts it in the water cup, and we try to grow the seed. It takes so much time.
Yeah, a tree takes time. That's why you have orchards where they plan the growth of the orchard by every so many years. They need to start a new crop or they're in trouble.
It goes, depending on the crop, it's everywhere, not just avocados, but anything tree related, 2 to 10 years.
Yeah.
Depending. And it could be one avocado versus a different type. Yeah.
But for your basic vegetables, you're talking a year's worth of growth. And then you start over, so seriously, spices are usually perennials. So you're talking every 2 years that you have to replant. But for the most part, trees are like fruit. Fruit's hard.
Yes. How many years?
That depends.
Fruit is, if you have to keep growing new trees, if you don't grow a new tree every 2 to 3 years, so that when it comes to maturity and can bear the fruit, you're going to be out of fruit for 10 years.
Well, it depends. Yeah. I mean, because like the apples, you can still get apples off of a tree that's over, 100 years,
and this is the reason supermarkets were invented.
Apples take time, I know. Apples take time.
I love an apple right off the tree when it's ripe. Oh my God. Like you pick it off the tree and you can eat it. There is like a peach that's ripe and you pick it off the tree when it's, oh, I want to go gardening now. I want to go plant things. We need to do that. We need to plant. And I love it when people do a lot of fruit trees, because they can share it with the neighborhood when we get like a big crop. We were recently in Tallahassee, Ruth, and, the people we were, taking care of their house and everything, because everyone, as you know, and Nancy and I travel full time and pet sit as we go. And they have this grapefruit tree that's just mass producing. And then they have Meyer lemons, and the neighbor next door had something. So everybody was doing something different and sharing the bounty. And I love
this
that.
This is nice. This is nice.
Yeah.
That's
the way it used to be.
And it's good for the environment because the environment has all these different things, and it's community being together. It's like, hey, I've got what am I going to do with all these fennel bulbs? Well, come on, everybody. Let's have a fennel bake off. I don't know. Let's get the neighborhood to have fennel. And it's amazing because it's going to cost you so little. And it's something grown in your backyard. That it's clean and you can share. And
it's fresh.
Yeah.
And, gardening is so therapeutic. It keeps you calm. You get to enjoy nature.
You're part of nature.
You get to see the fruits of your labor. You get to see, oh man, I started this from a seed. And look what I have now. And then you collect the seeds before you eat everything. You collect the seeds, dry them out, and replant. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool. Well, ladies, it has been fun talking fennel and anthills with you and growing food.
We can talk.
It's always fun. I know we can talk about food and vegetables and fruit all the time. I love it. I love it, Ruth. We can't wait for next time.
Listen to your voice. Let's listen to both of you, to your voice.
You too. Thank you so much for a fun show again and getting us to look at the difference, because we get stuck on certain things that we eat all the time. And it's great to add some diversity into the food mix. So fennels.
So much food. Yes. People don't know it exists. They don't want to try.
Yeah.
They don't want to try. Try different food. If you don't like it, try another. For
some reason, Ruth, the fennel makes me want to have a martini. I don't know what's going on, but apparently I want martinis. It does.
Yeah, Lisa, you always like that.
Oh, okay. Well, let's have martinis. It's the weekend. But everyone, check it out. The recipe for Ruth's recipe for roasting fennel bulbs. That is linked in the episode notes. You can also go right to blendradioandtv.com and just type in fennel and you'll find it. And in closing, I would like to say, way back when I was a kid, I learned every Simon and Garfunkel song you can imagine because Nancy used to play them a lot. And they sang Parsley, Sage, Rosemary, and Thyme. Do you remember that, Ruth, that song when they sang that?
Yeah.
It's an old folk song. Yeah. Very beautiful. And I remember singing in the car with Nancy going, yes, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. And we would both go afterwards, fennel.
And fennel.
Like the big, and fennel. I have no idea where that came from, but that became our.
Either.
Remember that, Nancy? Always singing that.
Yeah, we used to always add fennel.
Are you going to Scarborough Fair? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. Fennel.
Fennel.
Yes, I remember. Yeah, I remember.
They did not have the fennel in there. I don't know why we thought it was funny.
Because everything they mentioned was
so pretty.
Yeah. And then I'm like, sometimes you have to counteract. You have to counteract all the sweet stuff with something fennel. With some fennel.
This was funny. It was just funny. But anyway, so when I remember when you first came up with this recipe, I was like, this is fun. We have to do fennel because we've been singing this for years and never thought of using fennel as like a food thing. Like, so I'm going to do this recipe, Ruth. I did the latkes. Now I'm going to do the fennel.
That's the reason it's good to try
Yeah.
new things.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to send you a photo like I did before.
Great.
I will send you a photo and you can let me know if we did it right or wrong. But I think this is a pretty foolproof, easy recipe that even I can do. So if I can do it, anyone can.
You're doing great. You and Mom, both of you are doing great.
Oh,
Thank you.
You take care, Ruth. Thank you so much. Everyone, RuthMilstein.com.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to Big Blend Radio's Cooking with Love show featuring Ruth Milstein. Keep up with Ruth and her recipes and her books at RuthMilstein.com. You can also keep up with Big Blend Radio at BigBlendRadio.com.